So, Georgia is my preseason pick to win the SEC and probably the national championship. I'm not official on that, but they're getting into the SEC championship game. The question, and the only question I have about Georgia, is are they going to lose before they get there? I heard this stat the other day. Josh Pate talked about it on his show. Do you know the last non-Alabama team to beat Georgia in a college football game? Florida. Can you tell me the year? 2020. That's right. Dan Mullen coached Florida was the last team to beat Georgia that's not Alabama. So what does one do with Georgia's record when they have been untouchable virtually in the regular season? Well, I look at their win total and I see, it's tied for the highest in all college football. They have the same win total as Texas, who they play. They have the same win total as Oregon, as Notre Dame, as Ohio State. Their win total is one game higher than Alabama. Well, surely that must mean those teams are thought of the same as Vegas. Nope. Let me tell you why. Do you have any idea how difficult Georgia's schedule is? Look, I have been as bullish on the Bulldogs as anyone. I know it's not a hot take to be really high on Georgia. I don't know that even the people who like Georgia are high enough on this Georgia team. Carson Beck is going to be a Heisman contender from the moment he steps on the field, and I think is a likely candidate to wind up as a finalist by the time the season comes to a close. Because if you're the starting quarterback going for 300 plus a game with a top 5 offense, which is what they had last year, and you win the SEC at 12-1, and you're the number 1 overall seed, you're going to get a lot of Heisman buzz, as they should. Vegas, by the way, Vegas likes Georgia a lot. I like Georgia a lot. But this schedule includes games at Kentucky. They'll be fine. I know Kentucky had a moment. They'll be fine. At the very least, they'll win the game. At Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss. Okay. That is not an easy lineup of games. I think the only reason Georgia's win total isn't 11.5 is because their schedule might be one of the 3 to 4 toughest in all of college football. Let me repeat those games again. I didn't even mention week 1. It's a neutral site game against Clemson. I suspect they're going to do to the Tigers in that game what they did to Oregon 2 years ago. The final score, 49-3. So Clemson, they play them in Atlanta at a neutral site game, quote unquote. So Clemson, who are a top 3 odds team to win the ACC. Bama, who's Bama. Texas, that's top 5 national title odds team. Ole Miss, what do you know? Another top 10 national title odds team. They have to play those teams on the road, and they have to play Auburn at home. They'll be fine. Tennessee at home, again, they'll be fine. Florida in a neutral site? Yeah. I'm kidding. They'll be fine. So, I just look at the schedule, and my instinct with Georgia is to say they're going 12-0. I mean, that's what they did last year, and they have a lot of the same components, and they've recruited at an insanely high level, and they still got Kirby Smart, and I love the quarterback, and they have my favorite returning trio of individuals: head coach, quarterback, offensive coordinator. You pair that with what should be a dominant defense, ridiculous talent everywhere you look. I know they lost some weapons to the NFL draft. You seen the guys they brought in? Watch out for Benjamin Jurasik, transfer from Stanford. Yeah, Stanford? That's an ACC school. To Georgia. Benjamin Jurasik can do a lot of things offensively. Or you could be talking about a guy like Landon Humphreys coming over from Vanderbilt. You probably didn't watch him a lot either. But guess what? He's going to make an impact. He just is. So I was going through London Humphreys. Beg your pardon. Not Landon. London Humphreys. So I was going through this Georgia schedule, and I'm trying to find a loss. And the only one that I landed on was going at Alabama. They'll be off a road game in their previous matchup with Kentucky. They'll be 3-0 at that point. They start with Clemson, Tennessee Tech, and at Kentucky. Then they go at Bama. I have that down as their only loss of the regular season. I think Georgia's only losing one game because do I see a team on their home slate? Tell me, of their home games, which of these teams do you say off the top of your head, oh, they're going in there and they could beat Georgia? Tennessee Tech, I don't even know why I mentioned them. Auburn, Mississippi State, Tennessee, UMass, Georgia Tech. Okay, so they're not losing a home game. They've got 2 neutral site games. Florida, they're a 20.5 point favorite. Good luck, Gators. Clemson, week 1, they're about a 2 touchdown favorite. Good luck, Clemson. You're going to have a really, really fun time finding out how good Georgia is. Okay. They're way better than Kentucky. You're not going to lose that game. So their season comes down to 3 games. At Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss. Those are 3 of the 5 to 10 best rosters in all of college football. Georgia, I think, is probably number 1, depending on what sort of details and metrics and how you examine this, that, and the other thing. But their season's going to come down to those 3 games. And so I think about how good Georgia is, the returning coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback factor, and the fact that Kirby Smart is still their head coach. Like, even if you think Georgia, I think they wind up going 11-1. That is my official record prediction for the Bulldogs. I think they wind up going 11-1 this season because they'll lose one of those games, whether it's Bama, Texas, or Ole Miss. I won't be shocked if they lose any of them. Ole Miss is legit. They've beefed up in the trenches. They've got great offensive weapons and a really good quarterback with a great head coach and play caller. Texas, going to have one of the best rosters in the country. They've got a ton of talent. They've got a capable quarterback with a great offensive coach who is really clever and my favorite playbook to play with in EA College Football 25. Okay, any of those games, Georgia could lose. But if you have 3 toss-up games like that where the point spread is going to be under 5 or 6 points, and I think Georgia, last I checked, is about a 5.5 point favorite going into Oxford. They're a 3.5 point favorite going into Tuscaloosa, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Only a 1.5 point favorite going to Austin to play Texas, which is certainly going to be a challenging game for them. Big favorite over Tennessee, but they have those games, and I think they're all 3 toss-ups. Ask yourself this question. How many big games against highly ranked opponents do you think Kirby Smart will lose in a year? He's not going 0-3. I mean, 10-2 is the bare minimum for Georgia here. 11-1, I think 12-0 is far more likely than 10-2. And I land on 11-1, but I would hammer that over 10.5 wins for the Georgia Bulldogs this year because I cannot see them stumbling outside of those road games, and I just do not see them losing 2. I think they're too talented, experience at quarterback. It's all there. It's all there. It's a national championship or bust kind of season. I think Kirby Smart and the team have an edge to them because they came up just short last year. Well, the only thing standing in their way last season was Nick Saban and Alabama. Now it's Kalen DeBoer, and that's the game I'm picking for a loss. And quite frankly, I don't feel strong about it as I record this segment, but I think Alabama can win that game at home. DeBoer is really, really good. Kirby Smart's really good. But Georgia, everyone's looking up at them. It's Georgia or the field. I think it's that sort of season. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.